Mayor David Cicilline is in studio. We'll take some phone calls from you as well. 438-9776 or 1-800-321-WPRO for Mayor Cicilline. All right, 438-WPRO. This is John DePetro on this Thursday. You can also visit our website, 630WPRO.com. We continue with Mayor David Cicilline. Mr. Mayor, why did you decide not to run for governor?
I decided to run for re-election as mayor of the great city of Providence, in part because much of the work that I've done and we're doing is the thing that most directly affects people's lives, and we're in the middle of some really important stuff that I very much want to see done. We have a lot of exciting things happening in our schools, and we've built this nationally recognized after-school system called the Providence After School Alliance, and we've just launched the high school version of that. We have a lot of exciting stuff happening within the school day with our new superintendent. I really want to be here to see that completed and to really advance student achievement in our city.
You looked at running for governor.
Yeah, we...
the problems with your brother did not in any way
No,
influence
absolutely
your
not. Look,
decision.
when I announced my candidacy for mayor the first time, people told me I couldn't win that race. And, when you decide that you want to run for an office and you think you have a contribution that you can make, you do it and you work hard and you do it.
You like
But
being the mayor?
I love being the mayor. And, we have the 195 land, which is an incredible opportunity. We've done a lot of work on that. I want to be here to see that through. We are just finishing a metropolitan transit plan that will include streetcars. I want to be here to see that work begin. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that we're in the middle of. It's the best job I've ever had. It's a great city. It's been a great honor to do it for the last 6 years, and I'd love to do it for another 4.
You've spent a lot of time in Washington with President Obama.
Yes.
If he asked you, would you consider a position in the Obama administration?
No. I love the job that I have. There's not a job that I think in politics that you can more directly impact people's lives and help people than being in the mayor's office. I love this city. I have no desire to leave the city and go to Washington. I want to stay here, stay mayor, see the work that we've begun completed, and I'm thrilled at having the opportunity to do it for 4 more years, and I hope I'll be given that privilege by the great voters of this city.
Where did the Orange Pea come from?
We began an effort a couple of years ago with the business community, with the tourism community, with the city, to really develop a new platform that will help us promote Providence both in terms of economic development and arts and culture, and to really identify, the brand identity of the city as a creative center, as a center of entrepreneurship, as a great arts and cultural center, but to develop a platform that will allow us to really effectively promote Providence both for purposes of economic development and tourism. We engaged a national firm that had done branding for other cities around the country.
That's the firm in Memphis?
Yes, and they developed a platform. They did a lot of market research about people's perceptions of Providence who live here, people's perception of Providence outside the city, people's perception of Providence who have never been here before, to identify the strengths and assets of the city, and then develop a platform which becomes embedded in the economic development message, the tourism message, that's used in graphics, that's used in text, that's used in visuals, that's used in marketing, that will be embedded in the Providence Economic Development Plan, in the CVB, the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Did you give any thought to using a local firm or maybe Rhode Island School for Design?
Well, we used a local firm to do some of the design work, Shaw Design, but the branding exercise, there was a competition, an open competitive bidding process. There were a couple of local firms that applied. There was a committee that selected the firm that was ultimately selected. And they were selected in part because they had done this branding work in other cities successfully. And branding and the development of a platform is a very specialized area within marketing and PR firms. So they have real expertise. We got it out.
The creative capital, the RHP, it really cost $100,000.
Yes, and branding exercises, again, it's not just the creative capital and the P. If all you're left with is a tagline and one visual, the campaign has failed. It is really about developing a platform that talks about Providence as a place where creativity is nurtured, where individuality is cherished, where personal experiences occur, that it's a place that has an economy and a sense of entrepreneurship and creativity and innovation that is at the heart of the economy of the 21st century, and to think about Providence as we think about new biotech and life sciences and green technology and design as a center of creativity with, a workforce that is really geared to the growth in the job sectors of the 21st century, and to think about what a visitor wants to experience, what a tourist wants to experience in terms of incredibly rich arts and cultural opportunities. So this platform is really about a way to describe Providence, to describe the strengths and assets of the city in a way that will create new economic development and new investment interest, as well as additional tourists. And it has to be deeply embedded in the economic development marketing, deeply embedded in the tourism marketing. It isn't simply just a tagline and a letter.
Okay.
And so that's a really important part of this campaign.
Should indoor prostitution in Rhode Island be outlawed?
Absolutely.
If it's passed, will you make sure the brothels in Providence are closed?
Absolutely. And we are currently, I was one of the original people who worked with the National Council of Jewish Women to submit this legislation several years ago. I submitted an op-ed that I'm hoping will be printed
So
soon.
you support that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Look, this is key. It has to happen. We're using enforcement powers of Department of Inspections and Standards and fire codes and working with the police to use the tools that we currently have. But this is a national disgrace. The bill has to pass. We need to end this practice in Rhode Island.
Chief of Police Dean Esselman, you're happy with the job he's doing?
Absolutely.
What type of job is he doing?
Look, when I took office, we had a police department that was the subject of a federal investigation for what's called patterns and practice violations, because the department was engaged in practices which rose to the level of civil rights violations. The Justice Department was investigating the Providence Police Department. 6 years later, we are on the path to accreditation. We have the lowest crime rate the city has had in 30 years. We have, redesigned the department so it's a neighborhood-based community policing model. We have a department from a city in this country coming here almost every week to look at the practices of the Providence Police Department.
Are people promoted fairly? Are people promoted fairly?
Are promoted fairly based on their qualifications, based on their performance. We've totally depoliticized the department. When I took office, there was evidence that people were buying jobs, buying promotions. There was a testing scandal. We resolved those issues. We have a department now where people are hired and promoted based on merit. And the benefit has been not only to the men and women of the department, but most importantly to the men and women and families who live in this city, who see the lowest crime we've had in 3 decades, who've restored partnerships, and the community partnerships in the police department are the strongest they've ever been. And the United States Congress, the United States Senate invited one police chief in America to come and talk about the work that's happening, and they invited Chief Esselman, which is a great credit to our department and to our chief.
Are you